women with their grocery dollies who woke up at the crack of dawn to complete their weekly shopping. An unpleasant combination of stagnant air, cigarette smoke, and cheap perfume wafted around me, and I held my breath as I squeezed past a man who smelled like he hadn't showered in days, and a woman dressed in black fishnet stockings and a skin-tight red leather dress that was clearly at war with itself when it came to covering her ass and her breasts. Smudged and faded, her bright red lipstick had all but worn off, and her hair was as wild and untamed as my own, although I imagined hers was the result of something else entirely. Perhaps if the next hour didn't pan out in my favor, I could join her on whatever street corner she'd spent all night working. I snorted. Seriously, Elle? Shaking my head and mentally rolling my eyes at myself and my unfair judgment of the woman, I rid the thought away and dropped myself onto the hard plastic seat. Living in the city was a world's difference from my hometown of Rock Bay, Maine, a small coastal town with a population of less than 500. It was a place where everybody knew everything about everyone, and town gossip held its own section in the local newspaper. Well, not really. It was more like two little old ladies who sat at the corner of the pharmacy in the town square and made it their job to know everyone's business. Sighing, I set my briefcase on my lap and popped the shiny gold locks, grabbing out the wristlet I'd tossed inside as I scrambled out of my apartment door that morning. 10 minutes. I had 10 minutes to pull myself together and transform into the highly intellectual person I was capable of being. Sliding open the zipper, I dug around for the few bobby pins I usually kept tucked inside, and a jolt of panic rippled across my chest. No, please no. I flipped the wallet upside down, shaking it of all its contents, and watched as everything, except for the bobby pins I needed, fell out. Okay, it's fine, you can do this. You can totally pull off the drowned rat look. Grabbing out some tissues, I quickly spot-dried my forehead and wiped the smeared lines of mascara from the corners of my eyes. There was no time to reapply my makeup. Not that I wore much on a regular basis, but special occasions called for it.
"Interview today?"
A deep, croaky voice coming from beside me stole my attention, and I gingerly turned my head to look at the older gentleman it belonged to. His frail hands rested atop a cane positioned between his legs, and his head was dipped, his eyes hidden beneath a plaid brown and yellow newsboy cap. He smelled of hand-rolled cigars, the kind my father would smoke on occasion. I sat up a little straighter, squaring my shoulders. Yes, actually. And of course I'm running late. Go figure, right? Smiling half-heartedly, I resisted the urge to laugh, or maybe even cry. I couldn't be sure. Tears itched the back of my throat, but there was no way I was walking into this interview with red eyes and blotchy cheeks. Wet hair and runny makeup was bad enough. Tapping his thumb against his cane, the stranger shrugged.
"I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just flash that pretty smile of yours a couple times, and I'm sure you'll have it in the bag."
This time I did laugh, albeit dryly. If only it were that easy. That so-called pretty smile had failed to work its magic with the last 8 interviews I'd had. I certainly wasn't holding out hope that it would suddenly yield a different result for this one. Not that I expected to land any position by flashing a superficial smile, but I felt obliged to humor the old man's obvious attempt at flattery. The harsh reality was landing a career and being respected took more than looks. It required a degree and determination, both which I possessed, but graduating with honors from NYU had left me with nothing more than a mountain of debt and a worthless piece of paper, otherwise known as a diploma. A roll of toilet paper held more value at the moment than my degree, and that was a real kick in the teeth as far as my confidence was concerned.